I started. Okay, ready, set. Who wants to start? I'll start. Hey guys, I'm Angelina and welcome to our project. This is an analysis on two chapters, the F-14s and the water cell. So covering the F-14s is me and Ava. Ava,
Hey.
take it from here now.
Hi, my name is Ava. I did some editing in this. Please don't think it's bad. On to B. What's up, B? How you doing?
Let's talk about what you're doing, like which one you're doing. You're doing the water cell. Say that.
Me and Jesse are doing the water cell.
We sure are.
Okay, so this
Yep.
is we're analyzing their two chapters, and this is a little timeline um about, you know, this is a timeline for your viewing pleasure and more information. Anyways, next. I'm going insane. Next. Ava, this is yours.
Thank you.
No, Ava, you gotta do your slide.
I know, I'm trying to turn on the speaker notes. It won't let me go in. Okay, now I got it. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
The chapter begins when Iraqi jets are seen bombing Iran soil. Marjane is upset by this, and we witness her perspective on the beginning of the Iraq-Iran war. When her father mentions he will not fight in the war, Marjane critiques him and calls him unpatriotic. Building up to this chapter, Marjane has put people on a pedestal that sacrifice themselves in a war effort. For example, her uncle and grandfather, along with her family friends that were arrested for being a communist. Marjane wishes that her dad was willing to sacrifice himself for Iran, painting her as someone that has very strong nationalistic beliefs.
This is a cat. Meow. Okay. Nationalism and Iranian culture. Marjane looks up to the adults in her life that protest and put their lives on the line and end up in custody. Marjane is a child who has been brought up in this culture of nationalism, and it reflects on her response to her father when he doesn't agree to serve in the war. Marjane calls him unpatriotic, and we can view Marjane as a symbol of the average Iranian. She is representing the importance of national pride and identity in this chapter through her disapproval of her father's actions. Furthermore, this concept of Iranian pride is developed through the respect of martyrs, those who have died in the name of war. People who sacrifice themselves for their country are well respected, and the idea of serving your country is romanticized in this culture described in the novel. This is another cat. Ava, take it away.
Thank you, Lena. These scenes start off as Marjane talks about the coup d'etat pilots being in jail, and then how her friend Paradise's dad
Pardis?
was Paradise. Thank you.
Pardis, I think.
Par-
Pardis?
okay.
Pardis?
Pardise's dad was a pilot in the war. It's then revealed that Anatazami, Paradise's dad, has been thrown in jail, and the reason why Saddam acted was due to the pilots being in jail. So Iran was weak to any attack, as they could not fight back. In the second set of scenes, Paradise stands up in front of the class and reads her letter to her father who had died. In the letter, she wrote that she would take care of her mother and younger brother in his place. After this emotional reading Paradise did, Marjane tries to comfort her at recess, saying that she should be proud of her father dying for their country and her to have freedom because he is a hero now. Although Paradise disagrees, stating that I wish he was alive and in jail than dead and a hero. Like the martyrs before Atazami, their deaths were idealized in the Iranian citizens' eyes for dying in the name of freedom in Iran. This idea is continuously echoed throughout Persepolis.
Thank you, Ava. This is a cat. Very polite.
Very fancy.
Analysis summary. Marjane's satrapy juxtaposes her experience as a child, how she saw her dad as unpatriotic when he didn't fight in the war with her friends, negative response to her father becoming a martyr, ultimately critiquing the fundamental idea of nationalism embedded in the culture of the time. Patriotism is held in high regards in terms of nationalism, but losing a parent is a deep and personal wound that runs deeper than what the band-aid pride and good values can cover up or heal. The author includes this chapter to shed light on how harmful nationalism is in this time period and context. Marjan is so obsessed with being patriotic that she doesn't grasp the gravity associated with serving one's life. It is so romanticized. When Pardis reacts to her father being dead, Marjan is taken aback. The juxtaposition between the two point of views allows the reader to see how naive it is to hold nationalism over the value of a loved one, which is what the author's intention was when including this chapter in the novel.
Great analysis, Angelina and Ava.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Clap it up.
Alright.
Thank you. That was great, Lena.
This is a cat. Next.
All right, so me and B were in charge of the water cell, so I'm going to start off with a brief summary. So, a summary of the water cell for context. Marjane's parents complained about the Shah after they had came back from demonstrating, and then so Marjane tells them that she loves the Shah because he was chosen by the king. Marjan's father tells her that that's not the true history, and he explains what actually happened. From this, we learn that what Marjan learns in school is not truly historically accurate and is product of propaganda. We learn that Marjan's grandfather was the emperor before the Shah went into power. When the Shah went into power, they had confiscated everything from Marjan's grandfather. He ended up studying and then becoming a communist. This caused him to be sent to prison many times and be put in a water cell, which is where the title comes from, obviously. Her grandfather suffered his whole life. The story of her father telling Marjan what happened with her grandfather and the Shah teaches Marjan about the gruesome parts of history and puts light on her parents' words as opposed to what is taught in school. This section is mainly split into two main points: the school teachings versus reality, which I will cover, and then the reality of imprisonment of Marjane's great grandfather, which B will cover.
Excellent,
Here
Jesse.
is Cat. Yep.
Funny cat. He's shaking.
Mm-hmm.
Looks
Right. So the school basically teaches that the Shah was chosen by a god. It's written on the front page of their book, which is it's not here, but it was in the past. It was in slide number 11. She had said, I love the god because not the god, the king. I love the king because he was chosen by the god. And then Marjan's father was like, who told you that? And she said, because it's written on the first page of her book. So what she learned in school is not historically correct, but it's what she believes is right because she was taught it in school, obviously. But the reality was that the Shah was manipulated into power by the British. So Marjan tells her father that she loves the king who's chosen by God, but her father tells her that the king was not chosen by God himself and that the king's father was taken advantage of by the British. The king's father, Reza Shah, was not a leader or educated, so he was manipulated into the position of power because the British wanted to take advantage of the oil in Iran's land. So basically, they had like manipulated the Shah, Reza Shah, like the current Shah's father, because they were like, hey, if you become the emperor, there's gonna be a lot of good things for you. You can do anything you want. And then he was like, oh well, how do I do that? Because obviously that sounds great. And so he's like, why are you pointing at me? Anyways,
Just pointing at Ava.
Anyways, he was like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? I really want that, because not everybody, but he was like, I really want this power. So they were like, okay, well, you just sit back, put on the crown, and I will do the work. But they were not good people. And so basically they manipulated him, and then they were putting westernized stuff all into their country, and it was so bad for them because look where it is.
Racist culture.
Yeah. And then Marjan's father tells the history of the Shah and puts him on a more human scale as opposed to just like the god chose him. Her father teaches her how history can be morphed by time with those who have power and a voice. Yay! Here's Sandwich Cat, and here's Beat.
Alright, so the imprisonment of Marjan's grandfather. Marjan's grandfather was imprisoned due to him involving himself with intellectuals that educated him and allowed him to change his beliefs from being like, a regular Iranian and like going along with what the rest of society and the government believed in. He then decided to change his ways due to seeing the unfairness of the social classes and how that involved in the westernized ideals and the other Western powers. He decided to become a communist. I almost said capitalist. He became a communist, and the government that was basically run by the British because the Shah being manipulated by them, the British did not like communism. The Western powers does not like the Soviet Union, so they decided to imprison him because of his beliefs, and they do not want him spreading that belief system to the rest of the country. Um, and yeah, he was a prince due to him being the son of the Shah, but they revoked his right to be one after he came out as a communist.
Good
Dang, that's a
analysis.
funky looking cat.
He's dancing.
Yeah.
He's doing a little dancey
The
dance.
analysis of this chapter is basically how politics in Iran, especially in the story, affect the characters and the family and literally like the plot itself. As Marjan is getting fed this propaganda by the school and the government to like believe this one belief system and not to question government, but her family is like the opposite of that. They want to challenge this government and believe what they seek to believe. That is why the analysis what I've deduced is that due to this propaganda and these politics, Marjan's like story and her entire arc as a character will be affected by this and the debate of the Shah and how his beliefs are involved in the country.
Woohoo! Thanks
Thank
for
you
watching.
guys for watching.
Will you
Thanks.
eat him for $1?
Thank you.
I
Would you eat him for
Mwah.
$1?
I wouldn't.
$1. $1. You wouldn't? I would.
I don't need
Bye.
cats.